In developed countries, their problem is majorly food waste. In developing countries like ours, the major problem is food loss. And food losses in agriculture takes about 50%, between 35 and 50%. It is worse in the most premium crop we have in Nigeria, tomato. Before you leave the farm, tomato has started deteriorating. It is highly perishable. It is the most perishable crop we have around us. So we lose about 50% of this. Then how can we reduce that? Already we have said land is fixed, population is growing exponentially, food production capacity is almost stalled. So we need to be innovative in our production and processing system. The cost and demand for energy in agriculture will rise. That's another real fact. Current food production supply cannot meet the demand. That is why we are going through what we're going through in Nigeria since January 2024. Since I've been born, I've not seen this level of food inflation until this year. And a wise man once coined that necessity is the mother of invention. Invention is a form of innovation. Now the current reality in Nigeria must teach us to invent methods for food production, food supply, food processing. 2 billion people, about 25% of the current population, are suffering from malnutrition globally. Growing up, I remember there used to be this movie, they would show clips of Somalia in the 90s when they were fighting war in the honor of Africa. We would see Somalia children. How would we identify children from Somalia or the eastern part of Africa? We'll see the way they look, with kwashiorkor, with beriberi, looking highly undernourished. If we are not proactive in Nigeria, we are getting towards that. I came into Lagos last month for a project at our office around Moshe. And when we got to Ojota, we saw this Hausa man selling yams in, what's it called, wheelbarrow. And we asked him, 5 tubers, how much? He said 25,000 naira. And we were laughing. Because, sorry, in a lorry, we won't buy such. It's so expensive. And I told them, this is the reality. How would I buy a tuber of yam for 5,000 naira? But for that not to continue or not to increase, all of us in this room must have to be proactive farmers. Let's look at current realities. Our food systems are under pressure. We have a finite and reducing supply of agric and natural resources, and we've got to safeguard them. Safeguard them from urbanization. The first speaker has mentioned this. Eroding soil, air, and water quality, human activities, and natural occurrences. There are some natural occurrences that can also prevent food from being produced as expected. The livelihoods of billions who work along the agric value chain are at stake. Another current reality is that the challenge at hand is unprecedented. We've not had it this bad in Nigeria. Doctor, am I correct? We've not had it this bad. Previously in Nigeria, what we used to have is seasonal scarcity or inflation in selected food prices. For instance, when yam is out of season from April to June ending, you have options of other foods to run to. This year, for the first time in my life, I've seen beans superseding rice in costs. And growing up, we were told that beans contains protein, 32%. That's the best protein we can eat as a vegetable food. Now, most people cannot even afford beans. Beans season, I want to give us in the value chain now, beans would usually be harvested by October, November ending. So when we get there, I'll share with you some tricks or some things you can do to secure yourself in 2025, because we've got to be wise, be proactive, and secure 2025. I went for a conference in Maiduguri, October ending last year, and you know that's the belt for wheat and the belt for honey beans, Ewolo in Nigeria, because of the climate there. I was to have bought beans home, but I felt this is season for beans. Beans will be cheap when I get to Lorry. And here we are. Beans is not cheap, and it's not planning to become cheap. But we must know that it's a challenge that's unprecedented. So we must make our food systems more sustainable by using innovative tools and approaches that are being deployed globally. And three things are important and crucial.